We are getting live now with the fake knife round. Sides have already been determined, as you can see, by Astralis going down, so this is going to be the choice. Not for Envious. There has not been a sudden organizational change in the works here at this point. We have just, obviously we'll have to fix that at some point, but for the time being, don't let it distract you too much. Don't get angry about it, just calm down, and there you go, just like that. Your calmness will be rewarded with a quick fix to the team name over at the top. It is now set to FaZe, so everything's good, and this will be the grand finals, guys. So this is for the one and only qualification slot for Europe. The 8th and final slot will be going to the North American team to qualify at some point throughout this week, I do believe. And the qualifiers will be running not necessarily on one day, but over a longer period of time. But Astralis versus FaZe is what it comes down to. A best of 3, starting off here, going towards Train and then Dust 2 as our third map. And, well, Astralis start things off. They've got 3 players held at top mid, but 2 guys pushing with the bomb included already into the bomb site. I'm going to try to wrap that out here. And see, again, they get themselves into a bit of a duel there, but so far, things going well for Astralis. The rest of them still hiding in the apartments. Don't want to push in just yet. When they do start to move in there, they eventually end up actually calling it off. Both Xyp9x and Kerrigan brought down very low to 19 and 26 HP respectively. They're going to wrap themselves around over here towards the A hit once again, where the defenses are a lot weaker for FaZe. They really only have Kiyoshima sitting there to watch out for that type of hit, and he's actually going to play this aggressively. Moving in, it shuts down Kerrigan, but he has left things vulnerable for a hit back over by the ramp. The good news is more players have started to rotate in, so they're in good positions to watch out for this one. Unfortunately, they did not account for Dupree still sitting in connector there, so the rest of these guys are going to start to walk in. It's easy picking up that kill onto Kirby, and it's run into a 3-on-3. Now, Astralis get partial site control, but this is very, very shaky to say the least. Dupree thankfully boxing out a bit more here by picking up that kill on Kiyoshima, but Jacob moves his way back in there on the flank and opens it up once again. Dupree just stuck it in the open. He's going to go down, and now everything is in the hands of Device. Trying to clutch this out in a 1v2. Now, it's planted for them, but he's going to find that first kill, and now falling back, he clutches out the second one as well. Astralis will pick up the pistol and start off their path to New York here well in this best of 3. This is, of course, where things go for FaZe into the second round. Seems to be a bit of a lighter investment for some. Armor being bought out by Jacob. And the others, of course, just picking up the Deagles. Alu not buying anything to save up for the op on the first gun round. But beyond that, we will see, again, Astralis here up to their own full buy. SMGs for Kirby and Kerrigan. And 3 others picking up the rifles on Xyp9x, Device, and Dupree, of course. But things to being taken a lot slower and a lot less direct this time. With the exception of, really, Kerrigan moving in to investigate the B bomb site. They're all holding back once more. And there we go. Already seeing Dupree find that first kill. Jacob actually shutting down Kerrigan, getting a nice dual angle to prevent him from picking anything up there. So evenly traded so far, but Astralis once more are going to be starting to group themselves up over towards the sites as they have Kirby back out of that mid position. The only player he's really got to be cautious of is Rain. Beyond this, they are slowly creeping in there. Well, it seemed like Alu wasn't even there for a second as the Device just rips right through 2 players, taking out both Alu and Kyo. And now they'll get up onto the site with no problem whatsoever. The final 2 are starting to rotate back over. That's Jacob and Rain. Rain at this point mainly just trying to bait out some players to his positions there with the assistance of Jacob doing that for him. But I think Xyp9x is smart about this one. He sees it coming around the corner. And finally, well, Rain just gets a bit impatient. And he'll finally peek out, but won't find anything. Dupree will get a quick shutdown. And that round there. And with that, that will place Astralis in a pretty good position to end this one swiftly and give them their second round. Beyond this, of course, this now just takes us into the trash round, but it's also off to a good start. On their T side, we should mention, too. So being able to get that nice early advantage, of course, nothing too bad about that one. Some early kills being stacked up for Dupree and Device, mainly. In fact, they're the only ones doing the killing, it seems, in these first couple of rounds. Fortunately, Xyp9x, Kerrigan, and Kirby haven't been able to find themselves any hits just as of yet, so pretty one-sided right now. But there we go. Again, the guys from FaZe tried to do that big mid-stack, but it doesn't really seem to be paying off that well. I've already seen Kerrigan move in there to find that first pickup. More are going to try to overwhelm him, but Device actually grabs a kill before Kerrigan goes down. And more of them are just going to try to box these guys out and shut them down. There's not even really a reason to chase them, to be honest. Again, they don't really have any big guns of worth. Jacob does have the Mac 10 in his possession now, but that's not a huge gun. Actually, they made it out quite nicely. Kirby running out of ammo there on the SMG. Going over to the Glock, which probably isn't going to work so well. So I'm just going to stick in my corner, stick with the reload. to be able to peek out again in a moment here. And obviously now the bomb's down and everything, they can go for the corner push, which will finally allow Kirby to jump out of the window, shut him down, and end the round for Astralis. 3-0 start. With the exception of that last round, fairly minimal losses too, so the money build-up will be quite good. I'm looking at more than likely these guys all having enough cash for one full buy on their own regard. And Kirby's sitting on enough cash to be able to do that twice, actually, but it gets reduced now because they do make that kind of split-second decision to invest into an op, which will go into Kerrigan's hands. FaZe, though, doing the same thing with Alu. He bought very, very light on the second and third round, so no problem getting that for him. And he was on fire earlier with his shots. Not necessarily on this map, but across the other two sets that they played. Started off a bit slow here when he played on Godsent just a couple of hours ago, but obviously had plenty of time to warm up, and he's shown that in big degrees now, so we'll see what exactly he can perform with. As once more, Astralis looks to take that mid control. Underpass is going to be pretty clear, and again, FaZe aren't really looking to try and hold control of the middle area itself, or to try to contain them inside, and so far it's going to start off great. Hazy finds that kill. An awkward moment there in the window room, but Alu ends up winning it with the op, shutting out Kirby. Hazy's trying to face peek it there again with the pop flash, but nothing to be seen outside. Mid's basically clear after that exchange, and Astralis are going to fall back again to try and go for an A hit. How many players watching for this again is just going to be Keo sitting on underpass, but two more are ready to move back in and assist with the defense on a moment's notice. So in all reality here, Kiyoshima, if he peeks out, it's going to be a ballsy move indeed, but thankfully becomes a lot safer with the assistance of that flash. Perfectly timed, completely destroys device, and basically just gives Kiyoshima the free kill there. No problems with that whatsoever. Nicely done. And now they just have the other two here. The pinch is moving in. Keo denies the push from Kerrigan, so down will go the big op. And not only this too, but Zipix moving in. He's actually got a lot for free. For whatever reason, they don't expect him, and oh my goodness, he just dodged out of the way of Keo. It's all about noticing him there, though. Spots him first, trying to look for the follow-up kill. Trying to focus on the plant, however. And yeah, he actually just kind of goes for the plant, despite him kind of knowing that Alu's sitting back here. So unfortunately, no plant for him, and it will give the round over to FaZe. Goes down without even looking for that second kill at all. But as mentioned previously, of course, Astralis still has enough of the cash flow here to be able to invest one more time. So we've got at least this buy. It's going to be after this one that they go down to an eco. And for FaZe themselves, of course, Alu picking up the A. The op once again here, still rolling with it from the previous round, and a lot heavier utility investment and one across the board for FaZe. He's going to push himself through underpass there. That kill against Zipix, but this is the initial opportunity, so he's going to fall back, and they'll have themselves a bit of a standoff, which won't last very long. Good flash, though. Kerrigan's going to be completely blinded because that he misses the shots on AZ. That's a big cross that he's able to do, purely assisted by those pop flashes. And that keeps him alive for now. It's a huge deal. Now, though, they're going to move in there, and Dupree shutting out Alu here. Zipix with a great response on a Jacob, too, eliminating him. And now, right now, they're paving the way, but Rain has a chance to try and turn this back a little bit, at least do some damage to the T side. Ultimately, however, it's looking great for Astralis. They took their time with it. They wanted to abuse FaZe, and that's exactly what they've done here. However, Rain is going to look to put a stop to that. He's already picked up 2 kills. 3 more to go, and the members of Astralis at the moment are fairly isolated. If he can find them in a bunch of these 1v1s, he has a really good chance of actually clutching this out. Doesn't suspect Kirby to be back down in mid, though, and that's where he's going to meet his end. And finally, Astralis will trade it out. Again, reset the FaZe economy. They may be able to justify going for one more buy here, but if not, the single eco will do, and then they can be seen once again back on the 7th round, which is the path they're going to take. Still holding this match fairly close. No reason to force them to do anything crazy just as of yet. They're in an okay position still. But Astralis, they may know that this is happening, so they're lining up for another fast take. Still only leaving Kerrigan to hold the area back over there by mid. And we can see Keo creeping in there. Finds Dupree. Unfortunately, overstays his welcome, and that's where Kirby's going to be able to trade things back out. Zipix moving up 2, doing good damage to AZ, and actually brings it into 4 HP before deciding to stop that spray. Kirby with the closeout, but Kiyoshima with a wild peek takes down the second player. Device is here. Now, Device has the situation very much so under control. It falls to Jacob to pull it off, but obviously not going to be doing that with a 5-7. Zipix gets the clotheslining kill from the back and puts the 5th round on the board for Astralis. Big investment going to be rolling in, though, for FaZe on this time, on this round. Alu back with the op. Most players sitting with M4s, and most of these M4 guys as well get full utility. The only one that isn't going to get it is AZ, and we can see that too. He wasn't even able to afford his own pistol back on that last eco round, so he's sitting a lot lower than the rest of his teammates. Kind of wrecking his money. Kerrigan's going to be moving out there, and again, another shot connected. Taking down Jacob. Nicely played by him, getting that early kind of assertive dominance there to be able to pick up that frag. He very quickly falls back, though. Doesn't want to stick around for too long. Their plan, at least in this round, does not seem to be relegated around mid just yet, as they want to run that timer down a bit, although an early pick like that is certainly going to help their case. and this is going to cause the 2-2 split. Entire map is cut in half for FaZe at this point, unless Rain decides to rotate back over. But for now, again, the Astralis doing a good job of kind of keeping pressure on both sites and keeping the doubts alive for FaZe as far as where this hit is going. So they will be sticking onto the sites. It's all going to be about spotting that bomb and catching it when it actually moves in. Damage also done here to Kerrigan. Back over by those halls there. I believe that being done by AZ, and Alu's starting to punish some of these guys that were peeking into the A-bomb site. That's another one going down. They've also just started to completely abandon this hit, with the exception of Kirby kind of sticking around here to play with AZ a bit. They've all fallen back, and while Rain started to rotate over, he did just cancel it, moving in again. Astralis themselves really haven't decided on the place they want to take this bomb to just as of yet, but they've moved it into the back B halls, which, again, judging from the three players that are now pushing their way out there onto Cat, or just all the way through the apartments, it is looking like they're going to go for the Executor, and with Dupree's kill on AZ, that should definitely solidify it. Falls to Rain to defend. He's picked up that first kill, looking for more. Should have been able to hear these players jumping back down, but oof, peeks directly out into Kerrigan's crosshair, and that is going to bring him down to the hands of the op. Now it's just Kiyoshima and Alu that remain. These are the guys over on the A-bomb site. Weren't really able to rotate in time. Now it's going to be up to them to try and either just hold this and prevent any exits, or obviously go for the retake itself. Unfortunately, utility, along with just general gun power and information, is probably not going to let them go back in and go for that retake in itself, so taking the exit option. At least Kiyoshima is, but Alu with the very expensive op and the money still being down in the dumps here for FaZe, he will decide to avoid it. And it's just going to be on Kyo to try and hold this. He'll grab that first kill. The other two, they got nowhere to run. They can't go back into the site and change direction. Now they've got to fight this, or at the very least get to the minimum safe distance. Kyo, though, thankfully for the guys on Astralis, will go down in the next bout against Kirby. And that, it'll give Astralis their 6th round. And continuing to climb forward here in FaZe again, keeping in mind for what was actually their map pick. Starting to look a bit weak on it, so pause definitely warranted right here as they take the tactical to be able to figure out just what's going on the CT side and possibly how they can fix their issues that are going on at this point. But the usual suspects showing up here at the moment for Astralis. Device obviously leading for the team here, 8-4. We've seen the other guys. Xyp9x at the beginning of this match, I would definitely say, was a little bit quiet. I mean, obviously we just had Device and Dupree finding the only kills, I think, within the first 2 or 3 rounds. But then we finally see the other guys start to step up a bit. Xyp9x has had a couple nice plays for himself. And overall, of course, everybody's still doing fine on Astralis with this type of a lead. One thing we do want to remind you guys, of course, guys, if you are interested in picking up tickets for ESL One, they are on sale now over on the ESL One website. That's going to be at esl-one.com. Feel free to head over there and grab tickets for New York if you're going to be in the area or planning on traveling. Once again, it's going to be on the 1st to 2nd of October with a $250,000 prize pool at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Have more info on that in a little bit, obviously, if we go into another pause, but it seems to be a quick one from FaZe, so we can jump right back into the match and see what exactly they're going to do. And this is not necessarily a problem of you know, just getting absolutely crushed by Astralis right now, even though the scoreline would show differently. I mean, they're getting close. Astralis haven't really built up a great bank when you look at this. They're maybe looking at 1 or 2 buys, and then FaZe will have already broken that. The only players that really have a decent amount stacked up would be like Xyp9x, and that's pretty much it. Device and Kerrigan have some cash too, but that's not that much, especially when you consider the first round losing bonus. That's really just the problem of closing out these rounds and trying to stop that initial damage from moving in. So once more, we will see that early pressure moving in from Astralis up onto the A-bomb site, but the guys from FaZe aren't really able to spot any of it. They don't want to be peeking out too aggressively here so as to go down too fast at the hands of these players. Well, Rain finding a nice little pot shot there, connecting it onto Xyp9x through the smoke in Palace, and see too, he's going to get support from Alu in a moment here. They've bitten on him, but the other 3 are also just stacked on that B-bomb site. As Astralis continue to take things very, very slowly. A nice smoke coming from all the way in the back B halls to actually block Alu, prevent him from seeing it. He crosses out through underpass, which we have 2 of going on right now from the Astralis side of things. That's both Dupree and Kirby moving their way in from the halls. And the bomb is going to take a safer route in the hands of Kerrigan over here to the T-ramp to execute with Device when they are ready to push into that site, which should be right about now. They've only got 37 seconds left and they haven't gotten any kills yet. Well, that's going to change pretty quickly, of course, but Kirby and Kerrigan, as they find those 2, that opens the bomb site wide open. And unfortunately for FaZe, as they weren't able to get over, they weren't really able to figure this out, figure out the game plan quickly enough. They're going to be completely outmatched on this one. No way they're pulling off a retake 3-on-5 with these types of guns, so it's going to be a 7th for Astralis. And FaZe will either have to post for exits again or save. I imagine for Jacob and AZ, they're going to get a bit more aggressive, and that's exactly what they're doing. Kiyoshima obviously wanting to possibly save the Deagle for the next round encounter. We'll see, though, if anybody from Astralis hunts him. And again, we can see that, too. They're not necessarily going for it. Just as I mentioned previously, the money isn't, like, amazing just yet for these guys. So maybe just thinking that they can't really justify going for it right here, right now, until they stack up a bit of a better economy, which, in all honesty, may happen off of this round. This is all 5 staying alive. That's a lot of bonus money going into the purses of Astralis. So this should put them in good spirits to be able to possibly chase down those kills a bit more in the future. Oh, that's my phone. Please ignore that. I don't know why that turned on. Anyway, Astralis are gonna go. Alu with a nice dirty peek on the device to start off this round. Shuts out device, and with that, we're gonna see another nade tossed in there too, which actually hits pretty much spot on to Dupree. Just a little bit off there, otherwise it would have done about 13 more damage. But another one moves in, and it does even more. Brings Dupree down to 36 HP. Eliminating, pretty much knocking him out of this one. He's gonna try to go for a peek right around this corner, but they're not really giving him a whole lot of room to do this. And again, Astralis, they're more passive style, while they still kind of prime themselves for the execute. This is where it can bite back in big ways. Although Dupree, look at him with 36 HP. He's having all this impact. Not only this, but Kirby has pushed himself up here too into the dark room. So all of a sudden, Astralis just went from kind of being locked out of the sites completely because of their passive play to Dupree just being allowed to walk right into the site and pretty much shut down the entire A defense. He's still alone here, which is the ultimate problem. They kind of have to figure out how they want to play this out. They have good control, but the bomb is still kind of in an awkward spot. With Jacob knocking out Dupree, though, this should solidify them just going into the B site, but they can't even do that anymore. All of a sudden, Rain has found Kirby, and he wants to shut out Zippix. He's going to take this duel alone, though. He's going to have no choice. He gets Molly out of position. He's going to wrap up towards it, but a quick shutdown from Rain does grab that round from FaZe. They pick up a second finally here. Of course, as usual, though, this becomes a question of consistency, since Astralis still have all that money that they can burn through. And we will see how exactly that'll be done, since FaZe, even with that victory, the money is not going to be the best for certain players. Ali specifically going down to an auto shotgun and playing it up close on T-ramp. No one underneath, but we'll still wait for the execute to roll in from the Astralis side of things, and this time it's a lot more straightforward from the T's. Out for mid control, which will eventually translate into an A hit more than likely, unless they abandon ship on this T-ramp push. Rain tried to move into the window room, but again, the smoke's going to block him off. But the good news is that he's already here in the event that they try to go for a boost up into the window. He's got a pretty good angle advantage versus these guys, but there's AZ and Device trading some blows to start things off. AZ spots the push moving in and also shuts down Device on the initial push. Here's where Rain can come in. No, the smoke fades. They do reapply it, but it's a little bit late. And also, Alu popping back out there, grabs the shotgun kill, on a Zippix, taking him down, leaving only Kerrigan alive, and he's going to get naded out by AZ. A deep one indeed, but it does connect. And another fairly clean round from FaZe, actually. Possibility around a fairly swift comeback if they continue to play like this, but Astralis have one more buy up their sleeve. It is finally going to start to empty things out here as they go for full utility buys as well. But they're up at 7 still on T side, Mirage, so I don't think they have anything to worry about just yet. Obviously, the FaZe round this huge comeback and possibly take the lead at half. There could be some problems there, but we'll wait and see on that. Of course, how these next couple of rounds go. They don't want to let them get that mid control again after how well that last round was shut down. So they are going to just try to post themselves up a bit more, prevent them from even getting into the site to begin with. And Dupree is going to be coming in from underpass. So will be Kerrigan. And AZ with no support just gets shot in the back by Kerrigan, taking him down. Alu as well trying to push out, but he is a surprise slightly there by Dupree around the corner. No follow-up, unfortunately, from anybody on Astralis. So they're able to get out of there, but not for too long. The boost up from Kirby up towards the window room does give him that kill, and also there's been no response to this at all, positionally speaking, so Kirby again walks right out there. We do see Kiyoshima eventually trading that out, but Zippix trades out Kiyoshima too, leaving only Jacob alive, and he's already made the save call. He's falling back. He's looking to get out of here. He's going to hand the round over to Astralis, and that'll be another one where unfortunately FaZe will just get reset here. Probably going to have enough to buy. A couple players going to be a bit low, specifically AZ, but I think they should still have the basics that they're looking for, with probably 1 or 2 guys down on pistols. And Jacob again just hiding behind the freezers here, hoping to grab something. At the very least, he should be able to swing out one of these guys if they peek properly. But again, they don't want to risk it. Like I said before, the money, they can't really afford those drops right now. So they're going to let Jacob get away. Assuming they have the same read on the economy that we do here on our spectator client, if they know they're going to buy anyway, it may just be better to let them go for it and keep your own gunpowder up. Because a dropping that probably would have led to at least one more player from FaZe be downgraded to a pistol, but I guess overall in hindsight it was more worth it for them to keep the guns, considering they didn't really know what was waiting for them around that corner. And again from Astralis as we get towards the end of their T-sided half now. Still sitting up with the lead, and they'll guarantee that lead for this half with the 8 rounds they've acquired so far, but more than that will certainly help to call the tides against FaZe when they do try to round this comeback. Easy then moving himself up. He's going to look for this kill, but there are players watching specifically for that hit. And that is where Kirby is going to easily punish AZ, taking him down. And that also eliminates the only pistol player for FaZe. The rest have rifles, thankfully for them. So they got a bit more firepower to deal with here when Astralis finally go for their push. They're taking it slow, though, especially now that that pistol's been spotted. We kind of expect that, since the eco rounds tend to be a bit chaotic and a bit out of the team with rifles control if they do just sort of force the issue. On these egos, much better to just play it slow, play the timer, and try to go for a fairly slow-paced execution. Even when you are starting to move into the site, you want to be able to take that slowly, check out your angles, and just look for easy headshots to be able to dispatch those pistol players before they can have any impact. But they are going to be in for a possible nasty surprise when they see all these rifles in play if they're not expecting it. 5-man execute, though, moving in through the apartments. Another one-for-one trade up on the way in now. Jeremy hunting down an additional one, and the T's smoke off his position. Rain grabs that one. He even moves around for a second, so the hit, again, gets just wrecked by Astralis. Or apologies, gets wrecked by FaZe. Astralis' hit, that is. Rain peeking out, grabs another one. So it's going to be a 4K on the round from Rain. He goes off right here. He picks up a 4th round for FaZe. We were seeing how well he was performing in the Godsent match, too, that they played just a couple of hours back. In this first map specifically, he had 2 rounds in a row where one was a 1v4 that he pulls off, and he almost actually finishes a 1v5, essentially, just because of their opponents being so spread across the map. And then literally the second round after that, he wins a 2v1 clutch. So Rain's definitely been on fire on this map. So far, today's matches kind of dipped off a bit on some of the other ones that we've played. But for the most part, though, still a very, very effective weapon here on Mirage specifically. As Astralis now, once again, have to go on to an awkward buy. It's just going to be quite a few guys with missing utility pieces. Xipix is able to get his 2 flashbangs and a Molotov, and he's had a little bit more than this, too, when the round initially began. But Kiyoshima holds his weight at first, picks up that kill against Kirby. And now it's kind of stalled the rest of Astralis here from moving into the site. Holding back now, but Nazy even punishing another player that tries to push in from mid there. Ali's got a position in Palace. Oof, this is not going anywhere for Astralis anytime soon. As they move in there, Xipix finally grabs one, but it's short-lasted, and for Device, it's 16 HP. I mean, what are you going to do? Unfortunately, in that case, you're just going to get hit by a nade and then killed by Jacob with his rifle anyway. But FaZe will definitely close that one out. That, I think, however, is going to be really the first time that we've seen Astralis broken so far in this half, to a complete degree. Not including... No, I think this actually is like the first time we've had to see them full eco in this entire half. So Astralis getting a bit of a new experience as far as this map is concerned. FaZe have been dealing with that for quite some time, and now they're going to kind of hand that torch back over here to the Astralis guys. We are still waiting once again for these guys to push back in. Jacob just catches an easy one. Xipix walking right out of the smoke with no support or anything. AZ actually almost kills 2 out here towards mid, too. Lights the hell out of Kirby. And Kiyoshima, some unfortunate timing, looks away just as Device is pushing in. Pistols, of course, but Kiyoshima still manages to handle it. And Alo with a little Tech 9 tap away. Shuts down Dupree. It follows it up with a second as well. So there we go. FaZe up at 6 rounds. And again, like I said, while they started off this half generally pretty poor, ever since they took that pause, I think it was like 7 or 8 rounds ago now, they've been looking much better, much more formalized, whether it was just them re-strategizing or overall they just took a little break to step away from things for a moment. It did definitely help to recenter them, and they've been performing much, much better since then, and it's been a much closer game overall. But a bit of issue, AZ. Alu kind of blocking his teammate off there as he tries to push back in through the connector. So AZ, as a result of that, is actually going to end up losing about half of his HP, which obviously won't be very good for the late round fight here. As Astralis will still look for that mid control. They haven't pushed towards underpass or gone in through the B apartments or anything like that. The B back halls to get down to underpass. Most of them are still sticking over here towards top mid. Waiting for their kind of signal to execute here. The bomb was with them originally, but looks like it's going back over for another ramp hit. As they've got Zipix along with Device in very good positions to be able to allow them to push directly into the site. And we can see Aloe here too. Still waiting for push coming in through connector, which he's going to get, but peeks right out there with no scope or anything, and that's going to be a punishment from Debris. Kiyoshima stuck in the same issue. Astralis are getting very, very fortunate with the way that these peaks are moving out for them. They're catching FaZe players just as they're trying to move their positions, and it's just screwing them over so badly. Now it's Jacob and Rain as the only two left up and running here, and they are going to have to try and turn this back on its heels, which Jacob will do a good job of trying to start that at least. Shutting down Device, but they've got 3 more to go, and they're basically on the exact opposite halves of this site to all of them. Pre even sitting really far back there watching for a mid hit, but Kerrigan, nicely done, just shuts both of them down and puts a 9th round on the board for Astralis. They get ahead, they're going to be able to claim the half in their favor, and now they jump on CT side, where if they continue like this, they may just be able to close the map out outright and be 1 map away from their invitation to ESL One New York, happening in a little over a month from now. In fact, I think it is exactly 1 month from now. Well, I think it's a little under that now, depending on the way you kind of work your days. But just under a month from now is when we'll be having that event, guys. So be sure to check out all the information and whatnot on the main event itself. We've already got SK, G2, Team Liquid, Virtus Pro, Navi, Fnatic, and one of these 2 teams that are playing right now that will be attending. We're also going to be having another North American team participate amongst the qualifiers we've got from North America, where there's going to be C9, CLG, Echo Fox, TSM, Optic, Energy, Complexity, and the Immortals will be playing for the North American slot. So be sure to keep your eyes out for information on when those are going to be played, so you guys can all check them out for yourselves out there. But again, FaZe now on the T side, and they're going to push themselves over here to the B bomb site, wasting really not a whole lot of time with doing this here. And also Rain, nicely played. Just goes right out there, grabs Zipix to be able to take him down. AZ in a bit of a battle here, struggling at first, but he does manage to close out on Kirby. They take him down, and now that site is completely under the control, but that's a nice shot from Kerrigan, and a second follow-up all of a sudden onto Rain, too. Nicely done, and that turns it back onto a 3v3. Device having a position here on cap, but he's got to be very careful with that 14 HP. Trying to at the very least push these guys out. Can take him down, although Kiyoshima with a nice 2-tap. Alu finding another one as well. Device trades, but Device is now alone and still only has that 14 HP to get himself back into this site. 3 now, and it will go down to 0 as AZ finishes him off. And FaZe will win the pistol round here in the second half to try and round this comeback and try to bring them much closer to the 9-9 mark. But Astralis will force buy into this. They want to keep their lead very heavily. At the moment, though, it's only 2 players that have really gone in for it. There's some more. Device picking up a scout, which will go into the hands of Zipix. And then we do see Device just picking up a 5-7 to work with instead of the Deagles. That 3 other teammates have decided to go for at this point. Like we said before, FaZe, while we've seen Astralis take these eco rounds a little bit slower, it's almost the exact opposite for FaZe. They just go full throttle into these sites, and this can have good effects and bad effects. Good effects obviously got the shock factor, but the bad effects is where these pistols can come into play in a big way, and we can already see that. These Deagles are doing work. Kirby finding a second kill, although AZ lines up the shot there to stop them from getting any closer into the site. The real trouble is going to be Device sneaking his way over here. He's picked up that Deagle, and not only him too, but Kirby rounding the corner. They don't have anybody watching for a flank right now. They're all expecting it to be direct, although AZ, with a nice jump peek there, does manage to spot it. Should have seen the player hiding in the back. I think this may be where things got called off for the Astralis side. But unfortunately, it's going to be a bit rough to catch anyone just from that kind of a position. Doesn't get challenged. I have to correct myself again. He gets a player. For whatever reason, Kiyoshima decides to push back over there through that crawl space in Dark Room. Meets his fate, and he hands an AK into the hands of Device. Rain's going to try to jump up, but it's also another trap. Kirby's able to punish Rain. So at the end of the round, we actually see FaZe, or apologies, we actually see the guys from Astralis doing massive damage to FaZe. Just again, to keep that money down and low, and it's working hugely right now. These guys don't have anything left over, just an excess of money. They don't have any savings account, whereas Astralis still has a fairly steady amount in terms of what we would expect going around. see again, there is going to be the top play from FaZe to take control of the window room early on here. Kerrigan with the cross, firing up some shots of his own, and they've got smokes ready to toss in and deploy. But for the most part, I think the guys from Astralis are kind of expecting this. And they're going to sit back for the most part. And that smoke looks like it unfortunately missed his mark. If it was going for the window, could have been trying to cross too, but that's a bit low for a cross smoke over there by connector. So we'll see if that was it, or if it was just one of those electric little chairs they were trying to grab. But Jacob moving in there. He does take down Device. And also going down too, but Dupree picking another one against Jacob. Moving up once more here to try and pick things up. Shuts it down. Alu's shutting out Zipix. Kirby here, eliminating Alu. Brings us down to a 2v2. As FaZe push into the bomb site here. Dupree and Kirby with the flashbang that goes out there. He's going to try to push for it, but actually holding back for now with 38 seconds still on the clock here. He's going to fall back over to the A-bomb site, try to get that bomb onto the ground. Dupree and Kirby still waiting outside, but we see Kiyoshima finishing off Dupree, and now Kirby. He knows he can't hold it. He's already called the save again. So early we see these saves being called, but again, it is going to be enough to close things out here, as we do see FaZe being able to pick this one up. They will take the lead here on that gun round investment. And now they are going to retie this back up at 9 rounds to all. Kirby really doesn't want any part of this, and he's still actually going to be a bit close to the bomb site, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. I think he should still be good to make it out of the explosion from his current position. The biggest problem for him is obviously going to be Kiyoshima pushing himself around the corner. And we'll see that happening in a moment there. He manages to close it out. Yep, looks like he was just out of range of the bomb explosion itself, so nicely played by Kirby towards the end. Just managed to shut it out, and things will get tied up at 9-9. But after that, obviously Astralis, they don't really want to fight against that too light-handedly now that they do have the arsenal to buy back into things now. And Kerrigan will just go for the auto sniper buy. Obviously causing a little bit of tilt maybe on the other end of things depending on how it pans out, but possibly causing some issues for FaZe too in the event, or some issues for Astralis too in the event Kerrigan just gets wrecked on the initial push, but thankfully at the moment this plan is playing it perfectly. Kerrigan might just get himself a little buffet of players pushing their way out from the T-ramp area as the bomb is still sitting in their hand. They've got to be careful of that underpass push though, and Kerrigan may just have to fall back to Ticket, because that cross over there from Connector is going to be absolutely brutal if they don't manage to position themselves properly for that. We are going to see FaZe lining up for the execute now. They haven't moved in yet. And also it's a passive hold on Connector too, which still leaves Kerrigan very, very exposed at this point as they start to push their way in. We can see and go over there to take a look. Thankfully, Kerrigan has got himself behind the triple stack, and there's going to be Kirby as well. He can back out, and there's the auto sniper. Picking one up. Kerrigan, he only gets one with it before going down, but now Dupree peeks from underneath. He is going to be forced back up onto the top here, but AZ's done the same thing, and Dupree just shuts it down. It's textbook from Astralis. Very well played. They even recover the auto sniper, and with that, now they take back their lead. Looking to press forward yet again. And the money for FaZe is just going to be completely broken. After they weren't really in a solid position to begin with, and now they've just been reset even more so. As we'll see, it'll be a force, though, from those guys, as they, for the most part, everybody except for Alu just buys out entirely, and already more of them getting shut down here. That's AZ that goes down. 3 more from FaZe. Still stacked in the direction of the B bomb site. Trying to head out towards mid, of course, first, but the bomb itself being carried through those back B halls, and I think Jacob's taking it through the underpass now. Taking himself over to the A bomb site. So they get that mid control, but again, as mentioned many times previously, getting the mid control itself, depending on your opponent's strat, is not necessarily going to be the problem 9 times out of 10. It's actually going to be getting it through connector, or just getting it over onto catwalk into the B site after that, is where you're going to struggle a lot more, and then we can see that to a huge degree here. As they wait along for a really long time, and there's Kerrigan also finding another one with the auto sniper. The Zipix will just close the last one. It's looking great for Astralis at this point. Again, showing some good stuff now. They've gotten guns in hands, but at the same time, it's only been these 2 rounds. And FaZe also kind of having to save once more here after they went for that force buy. They're just going to be looking to probably bring absolutely nothing into this one except for maybe a random upgraded pistol or two. And that'll be the case indeed. Just one on Rain as he picks up the deal. The other four are just going to roll with their default kits. The Glocks. And Rain starts it off well, shuts down Kerrigan back by the window room there. The other three are already pushing their way over here towards the underpass though, so going for mid control once again. But they've got to be careful of that crunch that we've seen happen on these past couple of rounds. They take too long to actually execute over towards a site. And because of that, obviously, they are spotted by these players from Astralis that eventually get a bit curious and decide to check out towards mid. So there's Device already taking down a player who was trying to get boosted back up. He's waiting for the same thing to happen again, but Rain impacting in big ways with this Deagle. It picks up 2 kills with it before finally going down. There's Device finding a whole lot more of them back towards mid. He's already called the cavalry in, and also punishing a player jumping up. That's AZ that goes down. Dupree finds the final one, and it's another quick closeout from Astralis there. Only losing Kerrigan and Kirby along the way to that one. And now here, of course, the auto sniper investment just rolls right back in. It's been kept. This is probably like one of the longest times I've actually seen an auto sniper kept in play for multiple rounds in a row. It's on his, I think this is his 4th round with it right now. So he's had this thing for quite a while. And as for FaZe, of course, they're looking to start off well, but Device is certainly not going to help that out. AZ gets brought down to 16 HP after he tosses a smoke out from the original smoke to block window. So he's going to spot that, although AZ moving in there. He does find Kerrigan up on top of the little balcony there outside of the apartments, but Device, bit of a bait and switch, moves in. He does find a second kill, but finding that second kill kind of left him in the open for a bit too long, and that's where Alu's going to be able to take him down. We've got Rain waiting back by the top boxes, hoping he wouldn't have been seen. He does, though. Kirby manages to catch him there, and while the plant does go down, Astralis are basically already primed for a retake. Alu's got to be your big man on the field now, armed with that auto sniper. He's winning from market pressure, but they've only got one guy moving in from market. It's all over the place. These guys are going to be pushing into the site. And right now, Dupree is walking right up for free. Hasn't spotted the others yet, but he's going to get one out in the open, and now it's just Alu sitting in the back there with the auto sniper. I think they know it, too. The flashbang's in the corner. That's going to flush him out. The auto sniper does get a first kill, but he's stuck back there after he finds that kill. Can't get on the barrel and thusly up onto the van fast enough, so they'll be able to defuse it. Astralis find a 13th, and they are definitely on the pathway now. And overall, FaZe, unfortunately, while they will be able to buy up again here, we're just not seeing anything all that great from their T side at the moment, which means Astralis may be able to just steal this one out from their hands and take this map. We will still see FaZe, though, go for a default A execute, or at least prime themselves up for it. FaZe with 3 now, working to get themselves in position to push out from Palace, and 3 as well dropping down here. He spotted them, so that's actually a pretty simplistic spray down to get through the panels there. Shuts out Rain. More going to try to cross out, but look at Kerrigan just going off in that round. Oh my goodness. Kerrigan just lighting them up inside of that Molotov. They only get 1 single kill into Device because he's kind of out in the open, but beyond that is Astralis that shut it down once more. Kirby's going off now with his scoreline, 23 and 11. Device, of course, showing up to the party as well as the second top fragger at 20 and 14. But we got Dupree up here too. A lot of that carrying over for the first half. There's not really like anyone at the moment on Astralis that isn't doing their job properly. Even Zipnix, who's sitting a bit lower, not really worried for him. He's not messing up a whole big ordeal you've seen in some of these other cases. So once more, they'll start off with the opening kill. That shuts down Izzy. You should note too, it was a fairly heavy investment from the side of FaZe, despite the fact that they are on the cusp of really losing this one. 1-for-1 trade though, as we do end up seeing Zipix get a bit overwhelmed there. Not much he can do about that. And Kiyoshima rocks up 2 very fast kills immediately after he finds that first one there. He's now down at 3 HP. But carrying on the way over here, again with still armed with that auto sniper. Looking to impact. Dupree watches for flankers. There won't be any of those on the way in. So they're going to go for this now. Now will be the time. However, it looks like again things will be called off. They will let FaZe get up to that 10th round instead of going to try and do a brash retake situation, which granted, if it worked, would essentially guarantee them the victory. But if it failed, obviously, it would hand over quite a few extra guns into the hands of their opponents, and they've got a strong economy already built up right now, so I don't think they want to put any risk in deteriorating it any faster than it needs to, especially considering the fact that this game can get very close very quickly. And that's where things get a bit messed up for Astralis if their economy gets completely wrecked But they won't be doing that this time. FaZe back onto a full buy, though. That's another factor that they are going to have to deal with. Are the AKs in that M4 sitting on Rain, along with Alu having the op. Again, though, just a note, I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. Alu, at least it's... I mean, Scoreboard doesn't always tell you truly how much you're been impacting for your team, but for the most part, I haven't really seen as many flashy plays from Alu. He's had a couple good moments back on the CT side, but here on T side, I really haven't seen anything from him that much. And once again, we're going to see Kirby opening things up. Back over here by mid, punishes a player from FaZe that tries to push their way out. They still have to deal with AZ here, but the bomb itself is rotating in the hands of Kiyoshima back over towards ramp. And again, a missed op shot from Alu allows Kirby to spray him down at range, eliminating him. They've got the Palace mollied off here too, just to prevent any quick reactions that the guys on FaZe may have tried to go for by pushing back up into the area. They don't find that AZ spotting them. That's giving away his position. Not a very big element of surprise across the board here for FaZe. So AZ will just get shut down before he does anything at all. While Kerrigan gets pushed out, he's still going to be fragging out with that auto sniper. Rain picking up Kirby and Dupree shutting down Rain. That will get Astralis up to their 15th round. FaZe still down here at this point. And again, the money's just absolutely piss poor. They're going to have upgraded pistols for most of their guys, and that's the force buy that they have. This is not even trying to preserve money for upcoming gun rounds. This is just an all-in since they are at 15 rounds, and that's all that Jacob and Alu could afford were P250s and armor. AZ and Kiyoshima in a pretty similar boat, but they had a couple of extra bucks here to be able to pick up Tech 9s. And Rain, of course, rolling with the AK is the shining beacon of hope at this point for FaZe. But, well, thanks a bunch, Valve. That's going to kind of ruin our fun, won't it? We do see the underpass pressure moving out from FaZe, but Kerrigan is certainly well aware of this and quite aggressive with it, to be completely honest, but some damage is being done from elsewhere on the map there. Both Rain and AZ getting hit down, and Dupree is going to be able to finish off one of them here. They actually call off the A hit from the looks of things, and they're going to try to investigate what's going on the B side, but even that is going to waste a lot of time here. And once they do start moving over there, Astralis have not necessarily been hesitant to move out and scout that info if need be. This is going to be a very short amount of time they have that element. A good shot from Rain, though. It does take down Kerrigan. So finally that auto sniper goes to the depths, and I don't think it's really going to be retrievable anytime soon. Also, Jacob. Nicely played by Jacob. He does have that great angle that he holds it up against the wall there to shut out another one. So FaZe all of a sudden having the advantage. They will push into this A site here. Device playing it smart, though. He does fall back a bit. But at the end of the day, look at that, 3 quick kills. And again, it is Dupree sneaking out from the Palace area there. It's all left to Alu in a 1v2. He does bring Zipix down pretty low, and as he pushes up, he gets that final kill. This is going to go into a 1 versus 1. Alu being able to retrieve an AK, but he's only got 30 HP. Dupree knows exactly where he's coming from, and to top it all off, Dupree has bomb control. So Alu is forced into going into this A bomb site unless he just wants to seed the round, which, well, I mean, obviously would cause him to lose the game anyway. So he's going to move in. And this peek is perfectly timed from Dupree. That's going to close out map number 1, guys. It goes to Astralis. And if they take our second map, which is going to be over on Train, then they will earn the only European qualifier slot at ESL One New York. Be sure to stick around, guys. We'll bring you back the second map here in just a few minutes. But for now, sit back, relax, enjoy some tunes, and we'll bring in that second map as soon as possible.